All right. Well, today, Jacques, I am so glad that you have joined me. I've been looking forward to this conversation. For those watching, Jacques is the founder of DataFeedWatch, which is a software tool that we've been using for many years on behalf of our clients. And I'm excited to dig into some of the specifics of how we use that for our clients and kind of how Jacques came up to create this tool and what they're doing there, the greatest and the latest there. So, Jacques, let's jump into it. Thanks so much for joining me today.
All righty. Well, thank you very much for having me, John. Look forward to a conversation on my favorite topic, data visualization.
Awesome. Let's do it. So I'd say to set the stage for those watching, could you just give some background around what DataFeedWatch is and what it's used for?
Yeah. So DataFeedWatch is an application for online retailers and their agencies, like you guys, like Stub, to create feeds for channels like Google, Facebook, Amazon, and in total we have integration with like 2,000 channels in like 60 countries. And why is it important for retailers and their agencies to create and optimize data feeds? Well, first of all, every channel like Google, Facebook, or whatever have their own requirements. So you need to send out your product data from your store to that channel. But it needs to make their requirements. So, titles called title, or it's called, ID is called ID, or SKU, whatever they want, right? If you don't make the requirements, then they will like disapprove your data and you cannot advertise there. So it's important to send good data in the right format to any channel in order to start your advertising campaign. On top of that, data changes like every single day. Not all the data, but you change prices on a regular basis. Your stock changes, for some customers even hourly, and you don't want to advertise products that you don't have. So you need to update your product data at least on a daily basis. And you advertise only on 3 channels. You need with different requirements. You need to do it every day. Life's too short to do that. So we take the data from your store automatically, while you sleep, and then you've created rules to create that feed for Google, Facebook, or any other channel, and then we upload it to them automatically. So we make sure that your data makes it to the channels and you can advertise. While we're at it, you might as well optimize the data as well. So you may have some missing data that you can fill out, or you may want to improve your titles or create custom labels, stuff we'll talk about some more later. But once you got the data, you want to optimize it for better performance. And then lastly, with our analytics module, we can also tell you exactly what the advertising performance was for every single product on every single channel. So you can optimize that as well. So yeah, every retailer that is an active advertiser and that has somewhat of a budget, not even a large one, needs to optimize his data feed in order to create a better performance for his advertising campaigns. And that's what we do.
Absolutely. And that's, we've been using you guys point because of that reliability you mentioned. That data has to be there. It has to be consistently going to those platforms. If it goes down, you've got problems if you're advertising those products, trying to sell those. And then also the customability of being able to, like you said, map different values to the correct values. Let's say you're sending it to Google or Facebook or wherever, and optimizing it to improve that product performance. I think it's a great description of what you guys do. I'm curious, what is kind of the origin story of why you got into data feed management to begin with and created DataFeedWatch?
Yeah, well, that's actually a funny story because we founded WordWatch, I don't know, 2010 or something. And that was an application that did automated bid management for Google text ad campaigns. So we invented that. It wasn't very popular at the time. And we ran it for a couple of years. We were doing well, but then at some point Google came up with something new. They called it product listing ads. And they were like pictures with with the title. And anyway, so we told the clients, we're optimizing your bids for those as well. Which of course we didn't, because we didn't have a clue. We just took on those campaigns to figure out how it even worked. And we quickly found that it was all very doable and also very instinct business. It's just that, man, you needed this data feed stuff, and customers kept on sending us crap. And we'd be on the phone explaining, look, I'm sorry, sir, but every product must have a price or it will not work. And then you go, how do I get the price in there? Well, you have his price in your store. Yeah, but whatever. So he would go back to his web developer. Sounds like prehistoric, but a decade is a long time. So he'd end up paying $500 to his web developer to get the price in, and it was a nightmare. So at some point we said, look, this really sucks. We're spending all of this time on this data feed stuff, while what we want to do is optimize his product listing ads campaigns. So we figured, okay, why don't we just put something together? First you start looking around, right? There's got to be a tool for it. And then we found there were hardly any tools. If they were there, they were very expensive and not very user friendly. So we figured, okay, let's hack something together ourselves. So we spent 3 months putting something together, hardly an interface, ugly, but there was like the rudimentary version of DataFeedWatch, and we started using that, and we realized, within weeks that this little thing that we put together was solving like 90% of our problems with just 2 or 3 different functionalities. So that's when we decided to pivot, as the classical term goes, and we said, okay, now let automated bid management be just that. Why don't we put all of our time and all of our dollars into data feed optimization? So we really started DataFeedWatch because we needed it, and from there, we built it from the ground up, and we've been growing ever since.
It's fascinating to me how many stories are like that, where you've got a company, they built one solution, they're trying to sell it super hard, and then they build some other thing and realize, oh wait, this other thing that even solves our need, this solves a massive need in the marketplace, and that becomes a long-term bet.
Yeah, exactly.
How hard or how easy was it to make that pivot and get customers for that new solution that you guys designed?
Well, it was hard in the sense that every new company is going to wonder how, where, and when to find its first customer.
Mm-hmm.
But the break that we got is that we had customers for that WordWatch service, so we could at least call them and say, hey, you're into e-commerce as well, so are you maybe interested in trying out those listing ads? And then we get the feed business.
Yeah.
So that did help a little bit, but I do recall that at some point we said, okay, we've upgraded the rudimentary version to something people can actually use. It looks pretty, user friendly. We build a website, and at some point you say, we're open for business, and you go like, when are we going to get our first customer?
Yes.
And so at some point, like, bling, first customer, right? That is awesome. And anyway, from there on, we worked very hard to increase that number, like every classical SaaS business, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest is history, as they say.
I love it. And I can attest to that hard work, seeing over the years how the product has changed and improved and iterated. I have a very distinct memory burned in my head of back in the early days of StubGroup, before we had found you guys, of trying to upload data feeds into Google Merchant Center, which was still so new at that point that even Google support barely knew how to operate it, and XML feeds and CSVs, and it was just an absolute mess. So as I see new advertisers starting out nowadays, I'm like, guys, you have no idea how easy you have it compared to the early days of Google Shopping as a platform.
Yeah, you were actually compiling CSVs and uploading them into the GMP. That took a lot of time and nuisance, and time you could spend a lot better.
Exactly. So I love examples of how tools like DataFeedWatch and others can obviously improve performance for agencies or advertisers, or just streamline things, make their life easy. Are there any unique strategies or particular examples that you like to point to, or that you've seen recently, where an agency or an advertiser has been able to use the tool to really do something that maybe most people aren't doing? That's a broad enough question for you.
Oh, that's broad enough. I see a lot of special stuff, especially with custom labels. I'll talk about that a little bit as well. Yeah. But I think that the feed is the foundation of every campaign, And whether you build a house or a feed, you got to make sure that that is rock solid. So before you get fancy, just make sure that everything is in order, that your data feed is complete and accurate. Just that will already get you a lot of money. So I mean, so just to throw a couple of examples on that topic your way. Making sure your availability field is correct, and you go like, yeah, sure, dude. But if your source feed contains quantities, then make sure you create that rule that says the availability is in stock if quantity is larger than 0 or 1 or 2, whatever you pick. Make sure you set that right, because you will be advertising products that you don't have, which is a waste, because you're wasting the money for the click. It's a bigger waste because you disappointed somebody who was ready to buy. So it starts with that. Then do you have your GTINs in order? If you don't, get them somewhere else and add them to your feed. By merging that with your source feed in DataFeedWatch, or using a lookup table to get it done. But get it, because if you do not have the GTIN in your, for example, Google feed, Google will give your ads a lower priority. Sure, you'll still be advertising, but you're going to be last in the row, whereas you want to be first, right? So again, very basic. Let's say that half of your products is missing the color. So somebody filled it out in the shop for half the products, the others don't have it. That may not be a disaster, although if you sell apparel, then color is a mandatory field. So you create a rule like, the color is usually mentioned in, let's say, the description. So in DataFeedWatch, you make a rule to extract the color from the description. You add a list with all possible colors that could be in there, and bang, there you go. Now you have yourself a color field. So being complete and being accurate is where it starts, and only then you should go to the fancier stuff, right? So what kind of fancy stuff do I like? The example I always use first is the title optimization. Now, I should say the image is more important. You cannot optimize an image in the DataFeed tool, but I just want to say it. If your image aren't very good in terms of quality, or this is not an appealing image, change it. In your shop, so it also changes in your feed, because the image is like 70% of the entire product ad. So making effort there has got nothing to do with campaign optimization, data optimization, or whatever. But hey, it's important. So take care of that. The next thing is the title. So the title, especially in Google. Now, my examples will go for other channels as well, but Google is the channel that everyone's on, and in many ways is a more sophisticated channel than others. So Google will say if the search query of a customer is similar to something that's in the feed, like the title, then that's probably what the customer is looking for. So I will show that ad. That's more impressions. And then the guy that made the search query is seeing a title that's exactly what he was looking for. So he's more likely to click, higher CTR. And then once he makes it to your page, it is the right size, it is the right color, it is everything he was looking for, he's more likely to buy. So with very good title optimization, more impressions, high CTR, high conversion rate. So it really pays off to put some effort there. So the first thing you do there is what is a best practice? What is logical? So my classic example is you have a product that's called 501. That's not a very telling title. I would say it's a bad title. You're going to sell a lot of 501s. However, it's a Levi's. Fine. So if it says 501 on your page, in your shop, that's fine. But if you advertise it, you want it to be Levi's 501 men's blue jeans size 32. And that's the kind of stuff that people are looking for, and that's how you sync your title with the intent of the buyer. And in a tool like DataFeedWatch, you just combine the brand, the title, the color, the gender, the size, and everything. So it's a 10-second job, right? And then all of your products have got that structure. So that really pays off. And then obviously the logical order of attributes is not the same for every product. You know, if you sell a fridge, you do something else than if you sell a pair of jeans.
Right.
If Levi's, you put it in the first place. If it's a no-name brand, you put it in the end. So you need to think about that. But the next thing you can do that's even cooler, it's a bit more work, but it pays off, is you go into your search query report, or search term report is called these days, right? And then you go and check people that buy my stuff. What are they actually looking for? So we did a case study a couple of years back with Zoot Gear. They're selling sports apparel, and I'm still using the example because it is so cool.
Yeah.
They were advertising their gear like, baseball glove, and they would go like, the brand of the baseball glove, and then maybe the size or something else. And they were selling lots of those, and they were happy. Until somebody went in and said, so, we're selling all these baseball gloves. What are people actually searching for? Only then they found out that people that are interested, they're adding in the search query if they're left or right-handed. For themselves or for their kid. If it's got to be leather or another type of material. And then this guy realized, man, there's like a wealth of information in the term report that I wasn't aware of. So obviously they redid the title. So it would be, baseball glove, left-handed, kids, whatever. Everything that was relevant was in there, and that made that traffic like soar. Like, I mean, it didn't go up like 5% or something. It was like more than 100%. It was crazy.
Wow.
Just because it is a triple whammy. And then lots of people say, man, I got like 50,000 products. I can do that. You can. You're not supposed to do it for 50,000 products. Why don't you just start with the 50 best-selling products?
Right.
And why don't you then focus on the single most important category of products that you sell? And why don't you just get started and not worry when you'll finish it? Because if you start with the most relevant products, it will make an impact immediately. So yeah, it is definitely worthwhile. And then lastly, of course, once you figure out what should work, A/B test it. Then know, right? So again, in DataFeedWatch, you can simply put in 2 different titles for the same kind of products, and see which title structure performs better, on a larger scale. So there's many ways to skin that title cat, and I can really recommend all of them. The most important thing, for you as a retailer is, start doing something to optimize it. And optimization is something that's never done. It will always continue. But start there, because it will make you, it will get you really a lot of additional traffic.
Absolutely. And it'll put you ahead of most of your competition already, just by the fact that you're doing something to improve, because most people just aren't spending time on that.
If your competitors are very smart, you're at least not behind.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, I love those examples. I'm really glad too that you mentioned the GTINs as well, those global trade identification numbers, because it's a conversation we're constantly having with our clients of, hey, we need this information in order to make your products really perform to the best of their ability on Google. And we'll have clients say, well, I managed my own ads years ago and they did fine. They didn't have GTINs. And we'll say,
yep,
that's true, correct. But Google changes, platforms change, and that's a couple of years ago is not now. So it's so vital that you get those numbers in. Really, it goes back to providing everything possible that you can to the platform, whether it's Google or Facebook or something else, because the more data you send them, the happier they are, the more options they have to make your listing look good. And using a tool like DataFeedWatch is how you can make sure you're checking all of those boxes and identifying too where you're missing information, even on your website, that you can then work with, in our case, work with the client to add and make sure they've got that appropriate info on there.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you have those 50,000 products, then creating rules for all 50,000 of them, or just 20, that means you can make big steps in a matter of seconds, still covering like 20,000 products.
Exactly. One question I get asked a lot when companies are reaching out to us, talking with us about the tools that we use to manage their campaigns. A lot of companies, e-commerce companies these days are using Shopify as their e-commerce platform, which I'm a big fan of. I love Shopify. It's easy to work with. So I'm always happy when I see a client come to us who's using that. But Shopify, they also have a direct integration with Google Merchant Center to push product data over to Google Merchant Center for Google Shopping campaigns. So clients will ask us, especially if they already have this set up, why would we use DataFeedWatch? Why don't we just use a direct integration? I'm sure you guys get that question as well. So I'm curious, how you guys answer that question.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I'm also a Shopify fan. Their integration is pretty good. And it is useful. First of all, it is useful for anyone who is like a very small advertiser. And the few bucks that he's spending should go straight into the Google budget. He doesn't want to spend any money on additional tools. So, then the tool is free and, it moves the products across. So that's fine. Also, I think it's fairly easy to create smart shopping campaigns through that. So that's another win. Still, you compare the DataFeedWatch with the Shopify Google app. It is apples and oranges, because the Shopify app will just take all your data as is from your Shopify store and then stick it into your GMC account, and and they'll wish you good luck. So there's no optimization. So if you have like the perfect feed, it could still work. But if you're serious about advertising and you want that foundation, that feed, to be as firm as possible, then you need to optimize. Because 501 may be an excellent title in your Shopify web store. It is not if you want to advertise, so you want to optimize that. Even if all your data is complete and accurate, you still want to have like a custom label for Black Friday when your products go on sale. So the ones that go on sale, you want a bit like more, you want a custom label. That kind of stuff is all part of optimization. At some point, you're going to decide, if you're smart, that you don't really want to advertise all of your products. So you want to make selections, also rules-based. It can be as simple as let's not advertise anything below $10. It can also be more complex. I have reasons not to advertise this brand or this brand, but only that product type. So there's many reasons to optimize that feed. And that is what you can do with DataFeedWatch, and that is money you will always earn back multiple times.
Absolutely. Yeah, that exclusion one is one of the many things that I'll often say to clients is, hey, it's really difficult actually to exclude products with the Shopify direct integration, because you can't do it within Merchant Center. You've got to actually go physically to those products in Shopify and select which ones shouldn't go through. Whereas with DataFeedWatch, say, hey, all gift cards, all products under $10, all whatever criteria you want to set up, we can knock that out and then not have to worry about it again. Yeah. I love that, along with, like you said, all the other optimization abilities that are provided there.
Yeah, so I'm positive about the app, but it's got its limitation. If you want more, and that's what you want, you're gonna need a real tool.
Absolutely. So speaking of features and things that DataFeedWatch can do that some of those direct integrations can't do, are there any features in the pipeline right now that your team is working on that you're particularly excited about?
Well, there's one feature that we have running in beta that you can actually find and try out on our site, and I think we're going to launch it, like commercially launch it early next year. And there's Price Watch. So Price Watch enables you to see who else is offering the very same products as you are, at what price. Most retailers go like, I know who my competitors are. No, sure, dude. You have like 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 products. It goes way more granular. So we can tell you that exactly, and then you can do two things. First of all, so you can change your price if you want to, lower it or increase it. But the other thing is, of course, again, going to the data feed. You can do simple stuff like let me exclude all the products where my price is more than 10% higher than my nearest competitor, because I'm going to be losing that anyway. Or you can create custom labels based on, let's say, the price rank that your products have.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you can make a single rule that will still work for all of your 10,000 products, right? So it's a massive operation. And we all know that no matter what I said about the image and the title, the price is the killer app in advertising your products.
Yep.
Because if you're really 10% cheaper, the odds are that people will come your way, even if you wouldn't have the perfect picture. Obviously, it's a mix, but price is really very important. So knowing really on product level what you position there is going to make a big difference in your campaign performance. We have it running in beta, and the numbers are great. People are flocking to try it out. They're not leaving. They're returning almost on a weekly basis. To modify the rules, to check out the data. So that is the thing that I'm most excited about in terms of what is coming up. I'd like to mention a few other things though, because I'd love to say that we excel at everything, but that is not true. And one thing where we're really not very good at is to communicate lots of new functionality. So we developed so much over time, and then you send out an email to publish it. Sometimes we make something pop up on the website, but still people come in, they're busy, they know what they want to optimize. So it's difficult to get new functionality across with customers. So things you may have missed, even if you've been around as a DataFeed customer for a long time, is, for example, that we also offer a feed-driven text ad. So you can create a complete new text ad campaign based on your data feed, which means that it's going to be refreshed 4 times a day, stock updated. It enables you to create an ad group for every single product instead of for a group of products. So that means unique keywords for a unique text ad for every single product. So it's like way more effective than the manual campaigns. It takes less time and is completely feed driven. So that is an awesome functionality. What I've seen in the past years basically is that everyone was on text ads, and then we got the shopping ads, and people migrate. And now, if you're in e-commerce, you're doing shopping ads, and the text ads are like, well, that's a lot of work. Let's not do that. But if you have a shopping ad and a text ad on the Google SERP, search engine result page, visitors are 90% more likely to click their way to your site. So it really so that's like an additional service that we offer. But there's also there's lots of simple stuff like we have a preview functionality. So there's this box where you create this rule, and there's this little icon. You click it, you can instantly see how that rule you just created pans out for 5 random products. So you get instant feedback if that is what you had in mind. If not, you go back and do it again. When you're done mapping, we will automatically do a feed review for you, so that even before you send it to Google or any other channel, we will tell you, that like 50% of your colors is missing and that kind of stuff, or that you have like double G-tint, whatever. Something that is, and then I'll stop, because otherwise I'll just monopolize this entire session.
This is the exciting stuff.
Something we call associated variants. So let me give you an example there. So let's say you sell shoes. So you sell the Adidas Stan Smith tennis shoe white, and it comes in 8 sizes, right? Usually does. And then at some point, 4 of those 8 sizes are sold out. What you would actually want to do is stop advertising the 4 sizes you still have, because Google will continue to show ads for that, and people will just click it and go there, and the conversion potential has gone down by 50%, because there's 50% chance that your size is no longer there because it was sold out. So in our exclude section, there's like another little section that is associated variant, where you make the rules say, look, stop advertising all variants of a product if X% is sold out. Or, maybe if size 39 is sold out, then stop advertising everything. This is something we developed at the specific request of a number of very large apparel retailers, and they're saving tons of money on this. They're spending their money on products that are really turning them a profit. They have the full conversion potential. So it's a bit more complicated, but it works.
That's awesome.
You know what the best functionality is, John?
What's that?
Our online chat.
I've used that many times.
DataFeedWatch is a service. It is not a tool. And the tool part helps you to set up everything that you want, but everyone has questions. Even very experienced people like yourself will still at some point hit the chat button to ask, hey, what is wrong here? Or, hey, I had this very complicated mapping in mind. I don't know how to do it. And then our guys who are virtually around the clock will tell you how to do it. And I think that is also something that really sets us apart from most other tools. That there's always somebody around to help you. We offer our expertise to the customer, and that's why it's a service, and that's why our customers are happy.
100%. I can attest to that. Many times I've chatted up one of your team members and said, hey, I don't quite get this, or hey, is this a glitch, or am I misunderstanding it? And yeah, it's saved me so many hours and solved so many problems. So 100% can attest to the value of that one.
Great.
Excellent. Well, I'm excited to see where some of those features go, and some of them are already using out. Love that preview option. I think we're testing out the text ads for some of our clients, so a lot of fun stuff there in the pipeline. Speaking of looking forward, I'm going to ask you to put your profit hat on for a second. And I'm curious, in the e-commerce space, in the e-commerce industry, if there are any particular trends that you're seeing or things that you think are going to become more impactful than they are right now in the next, say, 3 to 5 years. What do you think is the landscape going to look like down the road? I
think the trend that we've been seeing for a number of years now, and that is still gonna continue, is that the 3 big gorillas are taking the market. So that's Google, not Microsoft. It's Google. It's Facebook, with everything else that they own, and Amazon. So I don't see how that is going to change. However, and by the way, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? I mean, they're taking care of their advertisers. If you can sell your products through search or social or marketplace, by all means do it. But the trends that I'm seeing is that as no one's going to beat the 3 big guys on their own territory, there are other ways to still get to consumers. So what I mean is that, first of all, there's like other type of channels, like retargeting, for example, like Criteo or affiliate channels. That's a good not an alternative, but in addition to search, social, and marketplace. But what I especially see is niche channels and niche marketplaces. So those are sites that are really dedicated to just one product category. So a couple of examples that I've been seeing in the last few years is I think we have like 5 different marketplaces and comparison shopping engines for wine.
Interesting.
Buy wine on. Just did a deal with a new kid on the block there. It's called Pix. It's a marketplace for wine retailers, and that is very specific. I know that we have at least 3 gun and ammo related channels, only specialized in that: ammo seek, gun watcher, slick guns. So sure, retailers can advertise their guns and ammo on Google or Facebook as well, but those are going to be dedicated destinations, and there's a lot of traffic out there for a wine retailer or a gun retailer, to get some extra visitors. In this case, probably way more dedicated and ready to buy visitors. It's wine, it's guns. I realize, there's also specialized channels for not forbidden fruits, like kids apparels or gifts or that kind of stuff. But so if you're not one of these 3, there's plenty of other ones where you as a retailer can go to and advertise. And I think that trend is going to proceed in the next few years for good reason.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I'm definitely seeing that niching down, like you're saying, and companies realizing that if they can build a following and audience in this particular area, they can create a way to compete with, say, the big guys, say Amazon, because they're also providing a different experience, different expertise, different content. Whereas on Amazon, you're just buying that product, from a random seller, and you don't have nearly that same necessarily customer loyalty to that brand or ancillary content, or even that brand loyalty of, oh, hey, I love going to this place to find the best wine, and I know that I'm a wine connoisseur because I spend time on here. And other people who do that, we share that interest. You build that tribe, as Seth Godin would say. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so that's a good thing.
yep, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So one of the last questions I have for you here is, are there any common pitfalls that you see e-commerce businesses falling into, or mistakes that they're often making? That could be related to feeds, or that could be completely unrelated, just things that you're seeing, common mistakes, especially with, say, newer businesses who are getting started these days in the e-commerce space.
Well, let me stay close to home, which is data feed optimization.
Yeah.
There's lots of common mistakes. Our best read blog post is the most common mistakes in the Google merchant feed.
Yep.
But that's not really a pitfall, because you do it wrong, you'll find out, we'll help you fix it, and then you're back on track. The thing that I'm more concerned with, in terms of where I see customers go wrong, is that they do not realize that the feed is the foundation. They go like, oh, okay, we need a feed. Somebody get a feed, right? And then
Right.
it is my absolute conviction that that the person that is managing the campaign should be the person that is also managing the feed, because it's the left and the right hand. You want to run a campaign with a custom label, because you're going to put stuff on sale for Black Friday. Then get the custom label, at the same. So it shouldn't be somebody else doing that. You see customers that will come to a meeting with us, an initial meeting, and they'll bring the tech guy. Now, don't get me wrong, I love tech guys. They're my best guys. But data feed optimization is basically, don't tell anyone. It's basically to get away from the tech guys, because if you depend on the tech guys, it means yo tech guy, I need price in my feed. And he goes, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, but I need it in 5 feeds. Okay. When can you do it? I can get started with it in 2 weeks. Oh, come on. I was thinking like 2 minutes, right?
Yep.
So that's the whole point. The tech guys can worry about the things that are really techy, network stuff and what have you. And the marketer can do his own thing. So don't give data feed management in the hands of the tech guys. Leave it to the marketer. There's a target group, the marketing guy in the retailer, or guys like you, their agency, who are taking care of business. And also, that's related, goes to the same point that your feed is a foundation. Optimization of anything is never finished. So don't sit and forget and hope for the best. It's not like you need to optimize your data feed like every day, but it is an ongoing thing. And then if you change campaign goals, you change your feed. And you try out optimizations, you A/B test stuff to see what works better. So that on a more generic level is something that something sometimes goes wrong. And sooner or later, customers, especially the marketing guy, will find out that doesn't work well this way.
Absolutely. I think that's a great example. I like to think of it as, with a product feed, that truly is an ad that you are creating. You are deciding what the image is, you're deciding what the text is, what the messaging is to a client. So it can feel like it's in that techie space because it's a lot of, mapping fields and clicking buttons and things that maybe don't instantly feel like marketing, but that is your ad, and that is how you are presenting your product to the public. So 100% it needs to be in marketing's camp to make sure that there's structure, cohesion, and strategy behind what is being presented to customers.
Yeah, and anyone who is able to set up a Google Shopping campaign and optimize that, has got the right brain or mindset to the data feed optimization as well. It's it's similar. So you can do one thing, you can easily learn the other thing. And
Absolutely.
you hit the chat button, or what you call John a StubGroup.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, Jacques, I really appreciate your time. It's been great talking to you and learning more about the history of things, some of the things that I didn't know about, as well as the future and where things are going. So thank you so much for your time. And thank you again for creating a great product that we've been using for a long time and plan to keep using. Is there where would you direct people to go to learn more about DataFeedWatch?
DataFeedWatch.com. That will tell you the story. It will give you an opportunity to sign up for a 2-week free trial, or longer if you need to. It's where you can book a demo or an onboarding call. So now that is where you start, and then we'll take you by the hand and we'll make sure that you're going to be happy with the feeds that you and us are going to produce. So, awesome. Hey, John, thanks a lot for having me. I enjoyed our chat, and also thank you for being a long-standing customer of DataFeedWatch, who is indeed able to testify that it works and it makes you happy.
100%. Jacques, thanks so much. Hope you have an awesome rest of your day.
Alrighty, you too.
All right, take care.